Welcome everybody. Blessed are those that visit this channel and enjoy the content here.
I had my gamer-ups already today. I had the one that was Sakura Splash GG, the one I'm having at the moment, Sour Cherry one, one of my favourites. Use the code Thorin to get 10% off some gamer-ups or anything on their store for that matter. And actually, if you go and look on the website, at the moment they have a Black Friday sale coming up where you'll get a free waifu cup, one of these with like massive tits that glow the colour of whatever the drink is, if you buy any tub. And it's a bunch of new merch as well. So obviously use my code Thorin, get a free waifu cup when you buy one of the different flavours. I'd recommend like Browser Brew, nice blackcurrant one that's brand new. Sakura Splashes, a sour cherry one that I've been trying recently. I like cherry lime skulls, more of a sweet cherry. I like lemonade. The name explains it all. So this is a very recent one. It's only from last month. What happened was Richard Lewis came online, and the overlap between people that hate Richard Lewis and people who tweet stupid stuff about me is obviously always going to be there. And he talked about this story where supposedly he's going to like look into some sort of a thing. I can't remember if it was like a match fixing thing or something like that. It was some sort of a story anyway. What was this thing all about? Doesn't say anymore. And basically Richard Lewis said, spent the morning going over this story about 3 separate issues here, which I'll try and investigate to the point of closure. It'll be a lot of legwork, but we'll be on board to see it through. So this moron goes, imagine using a dumbass who used to work at Breitbart for your reporting, right? This is already a very stupid person because there's no punctuation, if you notice that. Now, you might think, that's weird, Thorin. Someone could be intelligent. No. When you don't use punctuation and you're in a written format, it shows you don't read. Because when you read, you will almost by osmosis just take in the structure of how punctuation is used. And eventually you don't see punctuation. That becomes a way of making your written voice like the way you're thinking and would speak about that. So when someone puts all this with no full stops, no comma, it's already a nightmare. So imagine using a dumbass who worked at Breitbart for your reporting, right? So anyone who works for Breitbart can't ever be a good reporter. Now, 2 things there. One, I love the term reporter and reporting, but it doesn't apply to Richard Lewis. Do you know why? Even though his Twitter account is R. Lewis Reports, reporting actually describes more like what a drone in the mainstream media does, where they just take what someone else says and just report it. They just go, and we're hearing this thing happen, and they're not journalists, they haven't investigated it, they haven't got their own sources, they haven't verified if this is the case or corroborated. They're just reading it out because their source told them to say it, or their authority figure told them, or their boss told them, or put it on a fucking screen. Richard Lewis doesn't do that. He's an actual journalist. In this particular case, he'd be investigating and breaking the story, wouldn't he? So the idea that anyone who worked for Breitbart couldn't ever be even a good journalist is absurd. Are you ready for why? The site's named after one of the most famous journalists of all time in American political journalism, you fucking cretin. And spoiler, no, he wasn't just some evil, racist, bigot guy. First of all, he's been dead for fucking like almost 10 years now. And then secondly, he was actually a guy. He's a very interesting guy. Check out his book, the one that's called like whatever, like I Have America Surrounded or something like that. Like, he's quite an interesting journalist, actually. He's like a quite an interesting, like unique approach to journalism. He redefined how online political media and journalism were done. So the idea you couldn't ever have someone good work for his site, well, he was good, wasn't he? You fucking cretin. So already you've just invalidated what you... Essentially, your thing is, anyone who ever works for any site, I don't like, everything they said is wrong. Now, look, I might make fun of CNN, but do I think every single thing ever said on CNN and anyone who ever appears on CNN or works for CNN must be wrong because they weren't on CNN? Of course not. But that's what moron left-wing people think. And then... let's just do this angle. Then we've got Richard already can't be do any reporting because he worked for a real political journalism website. Okay. There's point 1. Point 2 is dude, so now Richard's a dude. Dude hangs out with literal Nazis like Thorin and is claiming to investigate. Right. So first of all, I'm not, because he's some sort of cretin modern zoomer, I'm not even figuratively a Nazi. I'm a literal Nazi. I am, in his mind, I am quite literally a member, or I'm aligned with the philosophy and the political ideology of the government of Nazi Germany, the National Socialists, from 1939 to 45, or 33, something like that, right? That's actually my literal political ideology, apparently. I'm just a literal Nazi. In fact, why am I even wearing this outfit? Why have I not got the hat on? You know, that's Hugo Boss hat. Why have I not got that on? I'm a literal Nazi. And because I'm a literal Nazi and Richard hangs out with me, he also could never investigate a story. That would preclude him from ever doing investigation. Now, what's weird about that is I could go into a whole thing about how it's funny because actually a lot of people who really are Nazis and identify with Nazis fucking love doing research and investigating stuff, but that's neither here nor there, is it? Then he goes, this whole Twitch is anti-Semitic witch hunt is crazy. He says about a website that allows you to say things as long as it's in favour of a country called Palestine that would get you like giga blocked if you said that about like any other country or against any other country. Like, if anything, I actually, even though I don't particularly like that label and how it spanned everywhere and used itself as a shield, I certainly don't like the idea that like you can never say anything negative about, in this particular case, Israeli or Semitic people. Like, is that really what's weird about this is, to him, we're all literal Nazis and we're evil and work for evil right-wing sites and so we can never access truth. But he also thinks the notion that Twitch could be against Jewish people is crazy. Now, for anyone out there who just went to school, who were the main people the Jews would say they were against in World War II, and vice versa? Who would they say were the main people against them? This is all over the fucking place, mate. You simultaneously hate Nazis, but also apparently think nothing can be anti-Semitic. Like, I think it's a bit too on the nose, mate. I think we can sort of see where you're going here. Then let's see what the final amazing, conflagration will be. Let's see. Sorry, the 40, right now him being 40 means he could never be a really good journalist, by the way. I thought almost like your skills scaled with age and experience. The 40-year-old, twice divorced, right, Richard Lewis has never been married once as far as I know, but twice divorced. Now being divorced makes you incapable of being a journalist. Deadbeat dad, okay, right, so he's now also a father, he's never had a child, and he's a deadbeat, he's not even in the life of his imaginary child. He's banned. Oh, wait, sorry, they mean fucking, I think, right, now I know. I assume they mean Dr. Disrespect is the twice divorced deadbeat. Is that the implication? Is that who it's referring to? I forget who the original story's about, sadly, because the link's dead. But anyway, it's all just absolute bollocks, isn't it? Like, doesn't make any sense at all. Then we got this guy, Yems Kolo. This guy's also all over the place. So when this guy says this, you'll think, why is he talking about me? I'm not there. Because I made a different reply, didn't I, as I pointed out previously. Can't see it there, sadly. So this guy goes, Chris J just says this to comment, Eminem's quotes it. He goes, man just need Thorin to come in and back it up. And we got a full plate of Nazi sympathiser, upside down smiley. Right. Just to keep track, guys. If I come in and back up Chris J on this point about, I think it's about like who can be ethnic Brits or something, then we'll have a full plate. We'll have all the famous Nazi sympathisers, I don't know, in the world, just in a thread. Me, Chris J, and that's it. We're just super famous. And by the way, I'm a literal Nazi in the other guy's post, but now I'm just a Nazi sympathiser. It's almost like you can't agree because you're just talking out your arse, isn't it? And then also, by the way, that's a full plate right there. By the way, this is before I've actually made a tweet, so it's just imaginary. It's like, oh, Eminem's, hey, check out what Chris J said. Hey, imagine if someone totally unrelated tweeted, then all the bad people would have tweeted. Do you have any comment on the actual tweet, dickhead? What are you talking about? But you can imagine this guy's entire brain's full of shit. So already we see he speaks a Scandinavian language, so we know he is mega fucked in the head. I believe this is actually Norwegian or Danish. It looks like Danish. Now, if you read it, it's just going to say some shit about Brood Wars, isn't it? So who gives a fuck about that? It's one of those people who, when they're blocked, goes, what does it say? Instead of just like logging out and looking. So they treat you like their personal bottler, basically. Let's see. This guy's talking about by the numbers. Drowlon, you might know him. He's like a journalist from Hungary or something like that, I think. He worked for Big Clan. So he goes, one thing which baffles me and has been touched on now during By the Numbers is how a portion of the community genuinely seems to want projects that benefit the scene to fail just because some silly thing about it irks them. Whether it's a Flashpoint, a Cloud9 or an org having a string of bad results, the vitriol is just way overboard. You can take the piss or critique any time, but wanting them to fail during a time we see orgs pulling out of the scene or not wanting to spend money is inane. This guy goes, ain't it also because people, and then notice the capitalization, it's another person who doesn't read. They're coming into a text medium to express their mind, but they don't know how to use it. Seem to be in a fight. Ain't it also because people seem to be in a fight versus RL and Thorin? Because people want capitalized them to fail because of some silly Twitter argument. This guy goes, yeah, see, even if you dislike a certain person, that doesn't warrant wanting a project they're associated with, additionally, a project that is built through the work of dozens of other people, to be unsuccessful, especially if that project is beneficial to have in the scene. The moron, before he hated me, goes, yeah, I agree. There are people within the esports scene I don't agree with, but I don't want what they work on, always as random capitalization like a bot, to fail. Flashpoint is one of them. We need the TO rivalry to push the scene, push the others to do better. Right, so he actually agrees here and thinks like people just hate on me because of silly Twitter arguments. Then 3 years later, I'm a literal Nazi sympathizer. So... Now, what do you think happened in those 3 years? Do you think in those 3 years, I spent a lot of time looking into historical revisionism or the ideology of the ruling party of Germany in the 30s to 40s of last century? Or do you think he changed in the last 3 years and his brain got broken? I'll leave it to you to vote for that one. Because as you can see, as far as I can tell, he's like sort of a fan. I mean, not entirely. He's doing that weird thing where when someone says something, you go, he's not going to fuck you, bro. Right, by the way, you do realise the implication of your joke is every man you reply to on the internet and joke with, you're trying to fuck. You set that standard, not me. I think it'd be an absurd standard. I get the joke, but it'd be an absurd premise, wouldn't it? But that must mean that you're trying... Must mean, by the way, logically, you're trying to fuck. Bro, you're trying to fuck. I know it's COVID and that, but you're horny on time. You're trying to fuck. Bro, you're trying to fuck. Why are you trying to get that dick in there, though? Why are you you're one of those little monkeys running and get that sneak dick action when the other one pops out, aren't you? I know your type, mate. Trying to fuck, aren't you? Jesus, get off. Mate, it's fucking weird. It's like sexual harassment almost. Fucking hell. I'm not going to fuck you, you know. See, he's just a fan of mine before this. Here's a good one. Astralis pleb fans are shameless, said I. Now they're crying about this map when they were loving their team taking the last 2 wins on it. Because around this time, Astralis lost a few times on Vertigo. So I'm referring to their Vertigo, which obviously a few months earlier helped them win that quarterfinal against Liquid. Because this guy's a moron, he, a random fan that has 451 followers, sees everything I see on the internet and knows if I'm lying or not. So even though I've just told you I've seen fans, Astralis fans, crying about this map, I'm a person with hundreds of thousands of followers who gets a lot more information than you. This idiot goes, again, no Astralis fan is crying about Vertigo. Right, my bad. I've just completely fabricated that entire thing there because he himself sat in his house scrolling a different timeline, didn't see what I saw, so I've just made it up. Or even worse, he's an Astralis fan, and since he doesn't cry about Vertigo, he just gets to decide that nobody is. And then someone comes in who's deleted their post and quite clearly just goes, actually check out someone on HLTV doing exactly that. And he goes, who on earth takes HLTV forum serious? Instant pivot of the goalpost. This has never happened. Here's it happening. Yeah, but that doesn't really count. I can see how you're going to win every one of these battles, mate. Fucking hell. Oh, there we go. That's why. Because a few months back, here you go. I go... about Zonic's new book and config in Vegas being set. He goes, nearly all Astralis fans, right? He now speaks, a random guy who's not even he's not even part of like a giant fan club or anything. He's just a fan of Astralis. So he now speaks for nearly all Astralis fans. Nearly all Astralis fans thought it was going to be config. Right. So even though I said this comment because I have seen 1 billion times people talk about how Zonic was smart and got Magisk instead of Kirby, not even the way it happened factually, and just wrong. They wanted Kirby, he left, they tried to get Mitt to config, then config said the wrong thing, then they ended up with Magisk. So you can see why I'd make this post. But to a moron, we all thought it was going to be... How would you even know behind the scenes what was going to happen, you moron? It wasn't even something publicly reported upon initially. This probably just looks shit at this point in time. Oh, by the way, this is hilarious because this is back when they were Blastralis and they were losing. He goes, but Astralis lately have been vetoing random capitalization. Like fucking exist, not even spelt right, is doing their map picks. It's such a bad take because it's in 2019 too. It's like that take about exist is from like 2014 or 2015 or something, like literally 5 years ago, mate. What are you talking about? I love it. I fucking love it. We won't read all the rest because, as you can imagine, he just starts talking absolute shite to all these fucking idiots. Probably nothing good here. This guy, VSum. Chris J made his comment, so he did that one where he took, this is just one of those random skin cell dickheads who's somehow famous, I say famous, 9,000 followers for just buying skins in a video game. Okay, mate. He does that thing where you just go, doctor stunt to find massive air pocket where man's brain should be. Random guy has to just think of me. Just goes, Thorin in replies, defending him, of course. Now, I already showed you in the past, Petty Grievances, I didn't defend him at all, did I? I pointed out that if you're going to say his brain was broken by COVID and your friend and colleague bullied people with COVID without even knowing what was going on, probably a topic you should stay out of, so nothing to do with Chris J then. Thorin in reply, defend him, of course. We know this is going to be some mentally ill shit, so get ready. Here it is. Now remember, according to him, that's defending Chris J. He goes, Thorin, handshake, always, by the way, you don't need the handshake. The handshake here would be Thorin, handshake with someone else is always doing something. If I'm the only one doing it, whose fucking hand am I shaking, you cretin? You're that dumb, you don't even know memes. Thorin always showing up to defend Nazi shit. Twitter, it never says the word Nazi or Germany or Jew or anti-Semitic. It never ever says any of the things that would be required. And also, spoiler, this is how far we've actually gone now, guys. So Chris J's original opinion, if you don't know, was that people who are black can't be British. Now, what's amazing about that is that's Nazi shit, even though that is actually what the people of Britain who fought the Nazis and defeated them in war would have thought. So now we're just pretending that because it's 2024, ideologically, Great Britain and the Allies were identical ideologically to Nazi Germany and the Axis powers. Now, the best part about that, of course, being that Nazi Germany at one point was allied with communist Russia, was allied with fascist Italy. So already we've got three different ideologies there. Then we've got America, the UK, and France, and they're all the same ideology. Everyone's just a Nazi who I don't like on the internet right this moment, basically. In fact, this tweet may as well just say everyone in human history who didn't vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016 is a literal Nazi. That's the level this guy is on. So let's see if there's any more good shit, shall we? So this person says some shit in Portuguese. I go, for a people that never shuts the fuck up crying about colonisation, they sure love that Portuguese language. It's one of the things I've never understood. Same thing with Americans, by the way. You know that whole thing of like, lol, where the British live rent-free. You're using our language still, bro. Just make your own language up. Just take one. Change it a load. Rename it to American. Why didn't you do that? Exactly. So this guy goes, there is a big difference between Portuguese from Portugal and Brazilian Portuguese. That's why you guys get teased for not knowing basic geography. So this guy goes, what does geography have to do with that? Don't really know what either you're talking about. Just nothing in it. Just absolute bollocks. Let's see. Here's a usual shit joke. Esports. Didn't know Thorin changed his hat. Every time I forget why I stopped following CSGO 2021. Following CSGO again, of course, 2024. So we know this guy's life is incredibly serious. But let's check it out. Every time I forget why I stopped following... Right, so you stopped following CSGO and you forget the reason why. I think this is just a shit setup. This is like when a guy goes, I just flew in, guys, and boy, are my arms tired. One, he might not even have flown in, and two, that's just it's a facetious joke, innit? So he goes, every time I forget why, I see a Thorin tweet and it all makes sense. Right, so my tweets are indicative of everything about the experience of following CSGO. So when you see a tweet you don't like from me, you go, that's why I don't like CSGO. It sounds like you are terminally online and mentally ill. Like, I know this is going to really blow some people's minds, but it is actually entirely possible. It might even be easy to just navigate following CS without needing to see my tweets. I mean, for a start off, until recently, if you'd have just blocked my Twitter account, you would have never seen any of my tweets. That's too hard for you. So apparently, just blocking my Twitter account would mean you no longer would have a reason to stop following CSGO. So you gave up following one of the major esports. You didn't. Years later, you came back. In fact, you immediately came back. Because I did a tweet, what this really says is, I'm mentally ill, and I just saw a Thorin tweet, and it lives rent-free in my head. That's all this says. That's all it says. Here's a good one, of course. We announced Flashpoint. Oh my God, what a talent lineup. So now Lee loves me. Even though, by the way, a year later, I'm the reason he stopped following CS. Cool. Then he's just agreeing with me back here. Just agreeing with me nowadays. Cool. Talking about a show we did in Overwatch. Fuck yeah. But wait, it doesn't follow CS because I tweet. Okay, then. He even, by the way, this is beautiful. So are you ready? See the guy here who implies I defend people because I'm like evil and defend Nazi shit. Right, this post here, if you can follow the context, quite literally implies that he is defending Donald Trump. You know, when Trump said like, they're not sending their best, he's there defending Trump. But he now believes, 8 years later, that I am a Nazi, a literal Nazi sympathizer or some shit like that. So, okay, cool. You can't script Thorin, mate. This isn't right games, says guy who 5 years later goes, I've just seen a Thorin tweet. That's why I don't follow a whole major esport. I love it when they don't know which is which. Thorin throwing shots at Shaq. No, what you mean is a Nazi throwing shots at Shaq. That's not cool anymore, bro. It's not fun anymore, though, is it? It's kind of whack, isn't it? Here's a good one. Look at his first tweet ever in 2015. By the way, this guy's been tweeting about for 9 years. We'll just put that out there. He goes, when your friend who just started watching esports sarcastically says, yay, we get to hear Thorin talk. You then watched me for 9 years, bro. You even claim me just doing a tweet is why you can't watch a whole major esport. I think you might be mentally broken. Here's a good one. Another dog shit rage bait. This is a T1 fan, so get ready. Right, I replied to Nymera and said the worst part about the obsessive fan base as T1 fans is now they have a totally deluded expectation. The team will make a massive U-turn and win worlds anyway. That's actually sick, because I'll give you, here's what's funny. None of you ever get this. That's what, look, this is in August 3rd. This is way before Worlds. This is when T1 shit in the bed in LCK. So I've got to give them props. They actually have nailed me completely, because here's the thing. Obviously, no one could know T1 win Worlds, but I am completely wrong. Like, even though I'll agree, I do think the expectation they would win Worlds is deluded. Like, you couldn't know back then how good they'd be at the grub meta, or what would happen with Kerry's champion pool. You couldn't know any other Faker would do game 4, game 5. But it is true. I am saying basically in a tweet, like, there's no way they're going to turn around and win Worlds. And they did win Worlds. So you know what? You've actually got me on that one. But here's what's brilliant, how shit their takes are. So this one goes, I'm speechless because this is so dumb. We do not expect. We hope for them to overcome. Right. So again, you know the millions of T1 fans? I don't get to see any of their tweets, and I'm not even capable of reading them and reporting to you what I'm reading. So this guy who is a T1 fan, he just knows what every other T1 fan thinks. They're all like part of a hive mind, and he's just let me know no one thinks that. There's no T1 fan in the world thinks that they're going to win Worlds. They just hope that they will. So let's look at the guy quote tweeting him. This guy didn't watch Worlds last year or something? Right, so he's quote tweeting saying, well, of course they're going to win Worlds. They won Worlds last year. So this guy quote tweeting you, a T1 fan, has just disagreed completely at the idea T1 fans think they will win Worlds, you fucking cretin. Spoiler, is the reason they won Worlds this year because of how they played at last Worlds? No, completely different tournament, different meta, different champions picked, different playing style even. Then this guy goes, Thorin has fallen. His unjustified hate, right? What? Can someone please explain what is hateful about having a different opinion? When I say someone isn't the best, I'm hating him now. Well, in that case, am I the best? Because if you don't say I'm the best, you're just being unjustifiably hateful and I shouldn't listen to anything you say. Checkmate. His unjustified hate on T1, like when I say that it's delusional to think they will win Worlds at this point of LCK summer, seems manifested randomly on him one day. Yeah, it's almost like something changed with Faker and T1 and my opinions changed. And you just stayed 8 years behind and I updated my opinions. And he's been hating the team I've been hating them, apparently. Not the fans, so I point out every single time, it's just annoying T1 fans like this. But no, I hate Onaguma, Zeus, Carrier, and Faker. I just hate them. Specifically Faker, right? I also now, I'm hating generally. I hate the team generally. I hate all the players. But specifically, I hate Faker since then. One day, I just woke up and hated Faker. Because I didn't say he's the best right now. Here's a good one. It still baffles me how so many people think he hates on T1 while he is and always was hating on their fanatical fan base. Nailed it instantly. It's almost like he's not mentally ill. He goes, he has beefs with anyone on esports, honestly. That's not even true, is it? Right, where's my beef with, like, Upset, Froggen, Forgiven? You go down the line, Mickey X, fucking, I don't know, Caps, keep going, fucking Soaz. Who we're going with? Wonder, Carlos, fucking Khan, Forrest, Nick. You can go down the fucking list. But no, you beef with it. Well, wait a minute. Which is it? Do I just randomly hate T1 and specifically Faker, or do I just beef with everyone? You've invalidated your own point and undercut it, you fucking dimwit. I don't know if that's how he farm engagements. Yeah, it's all about engagements. It's all about engagements. By the way, if it was about engagement, I would say disingenuous stuff I don't believe. I say all the things I do believe. I don't know if that's how he farms engagements here, but the way he does, things are almost, I can't even read this. It's like someone's just bashing random words in English that don't even make sense. But the way he does things are almost childish that you might think if he's still sane as a... Right, you're so childish, I wonder if you're actually sane, right? To be childish is to be insane now. We just keep updating the definitions. He wasn't like this before. Well, let me guess. Even though I'll tell you right now, Faker changed and T1 changed. No, it must just be the me that changed. And everyone who doesn't have the opinion about Faker from 2017 is weird. But passage of time can change people for better or worse. Not Faker, though. It can never change Faker or anyone in T1 and make them worse. Even though people, it can change for better or worse. Faker, it can never change for worse, or you hate him. This guy goes, I followed him for years. He changed the way he operates on Twitter since he refused to work for ESL after the Saudi takeover, probably since he now had to build his own business. As for beefing with everyone, he is barely beefing with anyone. Nailed it. In LOL with Nook, and CS with JL. By the way, the JL was just a joke. It's not even fucking real. You remember when I told Noah, like, well, you know what? If you say that, like, you're going to win and we should all shut the fuck up, that if you don't win, you leave the team, yeah? He comes in and goes, ostentatious dog, right? You already know this person isn't at all from the Anglosphere because nobody would use that phrase. That's something off, like, fucking thesaurus.com that you just looked up. Ostentatious dog? What can you bet if he really did win something? Yeah, you're right. I should put my own stakes forwards, but he's not accepting the bet, is he, you dumb fuck? Do you know who also tends to set the stakes of bets? People involved in the bet. So my stakes are, and if you don't win, you will leave the deal, right? Now, Noah could have said something like, how about if I do win, you shut the fuck up about me on Twitter for a year? I would have accepted those terms, because, spoiler, didn't believe in Noah. But no. Noah can himself go, and I shut the fuck up, I'll definitely win and shut you up. And then I go, why don't you put skin in the game, basically? And you go, how dare you? And then he goes, you don't have a shred of integrity, LMAO, right? So because I've said this and suggested Noah doesn't have integrity, I don't have a shred of it. Which, by the way, it's never like you just lack some integrity. It's actually I don't even have a shred. I've lost all respect. All respect. That's how people are in CS. They're like, you're a legend. You did so much for the scene. Oh, what do you think of this? You think this player's going to join? What do you think E6 should do? Who's going to win the next major? Then you say, like, I think Zemu's number 2 in the world, not number 1. They go, I've lost all respect for you. Your hateful invective is fucking disgusting, and all you do is say French people deserve death. And you go, I think maybe you're the mentally ill one. All you did is bark and bark. Fucking dog. By the way, do you know what gives away that this guy's from either like Korea, China? Those would be my bets. Because he thinks calling me a dog is a massive insult. Do you know why? Because in their countries, they quite literally sometimes eat dogs. So to him, that's a total food and almost like a vermin. Like, it's disgusting as a dog. We think, in my country, we think dogs are really cute and cuddly and lovely. They're part of our families. So to me, constantly calling me a dog doesn't really work on me. It's not really an angle, is it? Then he goes, this is complete cognitive dissonance. Get ready. He goes, fucking dog. Get ready. His brain ticks over. Tick, 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 tick. I've got to finish it. I've got to have a close strong though. play the fucking game and go pro too then. It's so stupid. Right. Since I'm a dog and I'm wrong, I should play the game and go pro as well, if I know what I'm talking about. Right. Anyone who's followed these before knows exactly where I'm going now. I could obviously pull the Uno reverse card and go, okay, you play the game and go pro then, and then tell me. Or even better, this will really break your noodle. I could say, since we're on Twitter in the media space and I'm a professional in media, you should become professional in media, then you can talk. But that would never occur to this guy's brain. He'd never get that one. You have to understand, guys. Here's a good one. By the way, this all started this year because I met T1 fans just tweeting at me all constantly. I put, hey, this is in April. I assume this is the day that Gen G won LCK Spring. Hey, T1 fans, you guys told me Faker is better than Chovy. So can you tell me an LCK final they played in the last 3 years that Faker was better? This guy goes, forget who's better. Right? I think I already read this one, actually. No, did I? I don't know. But forget who's better. All right, well, fair enough then. Okay. I mean, I was setting up a whole premise there to show you contrast between who's better. And the key point I can tell you that Chovy and Faker fans are obsessed about is who's better about these two players. So I go, hey, everyone out there who's a Faker fan, you said this one opinion a lot, many times. So can you explain why? And he goes, forget that. It's like, oh, okay, cool, okay. Thanos. Forget that, Thorin. All right, hey, Faker fans, nothing. I haven't got a point anymore. He goes, you are a esports historian. Yes. Do you know why you would know I am one? I actually did it for like 20 plus years, so sort of my body of work speaks for itself in many ways. I don't really have to even say it, do I? More like esports bigot. Oh, God. It's trash. By the way, what's bigoted about this comment about Faker and Chovy? You know what I mean? Like, hey, you don't like Faker? Not even what I said. I just said Chovy's better. You think Faker wasn't as good as Chovy in some final? You think Faker, a Korean, isn't as good as Chovy, a Korean, in some finals where Chovy, the Korean, beat Faker, the Korean? You're obviously bigoted and racist. Against who? Koreans? I mean, Fakers. I tell you what, I guess if there's a race of Fakers, by his logic, I must just be racist against them, just be anti-Fakerism in it, you know. Your hate for T1, I did actually read this before, I'm pretty sure, can feed the entirety of Africa, LMAO. I just love the idea that, like, my hate feeds them. Keep it up. T1 lives rent-free forever in your head. First of all, I love the way there's like an ebonic style, like, yeah, you didn't get shit, you dig it. And it's like jive talking all the time. It's fucking great. In your head. Where's your head at? We're winning worlds now. Season 14 worlds now. Where's your... I can't handle it. Anyway, it's the way he does that thing where he dismisses me like I'm the weirdo on it. And he goes, keep it up. T1 lives rent-free forever in your head, says a person who creates an account and only this year and only tweets about me and T1 this year. Only tweets about T1 to me. They live rent-free in your head. As I noted on April 4th, when I said to you then that they also live rent-free, on August I told you that, I think I live rent-free in your head, bro. The second T1 does something, you go, but what did Thorin say about it, though? It's like reality doesn't exist unless it's approved through the proxy of me experiencing reality. You're the guy at a concert, not even watching the concert. You're watching my phone recording the concert, so it's even worse. They say no man is an island. We all need people who've got our back. And supporting me and the content on my channel are the following people: Matt Pugnatio Rajcula, The Concept, Animosity, Banediesel, Ben Glass, Jasun, Jensen Goh, Tosh, Toucan, and you know it. Always a special thanks goes up to my main man, Jerky's Minion. Do you want to ask a question for my video AMA? Do you want to take part in one of those lengthy discussions where I talk about whatever topics are on your mind? Do you want teasers, find out who the upcoming guests are, or maybe even to suggest a guest or a topic for my content? If any of those perks or others catch your fancy, well, put your money where your mouth is and join the Skrilluminati today, where? In the Patreon link in the description box below.